Hello, good evening and welcome to Business Live. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, Public Interest and Accountability Committee calls for more investment in gas infrastructure as Ghana loses more than $700,000 due to the country's inability to take gas from the Sankofa Jinapor oil fields. We are live with PIAC. Also in this bulletin, Ghana Association of Banks advises government not to interfere with the works of critical state-owned companies such as the Social Security and National Insurance Trust (NIT) to protect investment and pension funds.
Call on our political parties to at all times ensure that the Social Security and National Insurance Trust (SNIT) leadership team is always fit for purpose and their term of office is not mixed up with SOEs whose leadership tenure is coterminous with the political leadership change.
We shall be bringing you more from the 2025 Money Summit. Plus, trade between Ghana and Turkey is expected to surpass $1 billion in the short to medium term.
Already mentioned that around now it is between 500 to 700, but you can easily double it. And the aim is 1 billion, and it's not a big deal. Seriously, it's not a big deal.
I have details of this and more for you. Please stay on. Thanks so much. You could join me. I am Pius Kojo Baka, and looking at our stories. The Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, is alarmed that the state lost almost $700 billion to the partners on the Sankofa Jinapor gas field due to government's inability to take back gas after payment. Now, the situation is due to the unavailability of adequate processing facilities to receive the gas. Now, joining us via Zoom to delve into some of the findings and, of course, recommendations from the report, we have the coordinator of PIAC, Isaac Jamina Esquire, and he's joined us now for us to have this quick conversation. Pleasure you could join me, sir, on Business Live. And first off, I want you to tell us whether there's been any improvement when it comes to accountability of resources so far since production began.
Good afternoon or good evening to your viewers. The Petroleum Revenue Management Act requires PIAC to publish 2 reports every year, the annual report covering the entire year, which is what was published earlier today. State institutions with one rule or another in the Petroleum Revenue Management Act are required to make data and information available for analysis and for conclusions. Based on the work that the committee did, what we have out there now as the 2024 annual report represents the committee's report. I can say that when you compare petroleum, I mean upstream petroleum, to mining, clearly petroleum is ahead of mining in terms of data available to citizens through the work of PIAC and the amount of knowledge that citizens have with regards to upstream petroleum operations in Ghana. So on that basis, we would say that there is better accountability, there is better governance of the upstream petroleum sector compared to mining for that matter. So we can conclude that accountability is better with petroleum, upstream petroleum, than with mining. But we would also say that there's more room for improvement. I mean, when you come to the utilization, which I'm sure we'll get to, there clearly can be better accountability. So let's say that the level is not bad in itself, relative, but then there is more room for improvement with regards to accountability.
More room for improvement, you say. I'll pretty soon come to that. But again, what's your position on the amount accrued as a country? Are we getting the right amount, you would say?
Well, so the report found that there was a decline in the 5th consecutive year decline of the production of crude oil. And so the figures are coming down with regards to the production of crude oil. These figures, before PIAC arrives at them, by the nature of the processes that we go through to be able to produce a report, we take the same information from different state institutions and even the international oil companies that are operating. These information taking are then triangulated. They are pitched against each other. They are analyzed before conclusions are drawn. So the committee can confidently report the figures that these figures are reliable and they are basis to draw conclusions and make policy decisions. So based on that, we can say that the figure 48 plus million barrels reported for production for the year is what the stakeholders reported, and the revenue 1.3 billion US dollars is what was reported for the year 2024.
All right, Ike, if you can tell us some of the key recommendations you've made for the government this year, walk us through some of them.
Yeah, so flowing from the decline in crude oil production, the committee recommended the need for the Ministry of Energy, the Petroleum Commission, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, and allied state institutions to strengthen efforts to attract investments to our sedimentary basins so that we'll be able to get the figures to go down, to go up. Viewers will be aware that since 2019, when the state had production reached 71.44 million barrels, we have subsequently been declining in production, and it's come as low as 48.25 million barrels. And there's need for urgent and immediate action to arrest this decline and have decline go back up again. And so that is the first recommendation the committee made. Then the issue of surface rentals. Viewers would be aware that one of the revenue streams of revenues that go into the Petroleum Holding Fund is the surface rentals. And for the year 2024, surface rentals arrears stood at about 2.8 million US dollars. And the committee recommends the need for the Petroleum Commission, the Ghana Revenue Authority, and other allied state agencies, the Bank of Ghana, to strengthen efforts at retrieving petroleum surface rentals. Because when you look at the Petroleum Revenue Management Act regulations, it says that the surface rentals are required to be paid by the end of the month of February. So if up to the end of December, we still have surface rental outstanding, then it means that some of the international oil companies are not meeting their statutory obligations with regards to surface rental. Let me point out that a significant part of the outstanding surface rentals relates to the petroleum agreements of 3 international oil companies whose petroleum agreements were terminated because they were not fulfilling their obligations. And these companies have failed to pay what they owed the state, which is what has contributed to the amount outstanding with regards to the surface rental. Then let me also mention the no allocation to the industrialization priority area. Viewers will be aware that for the period 2023 to 2025, the government selected 4 priority areas for the utilization of the annual budget funding amount. And one of the priority areas selected, industrialization, received no allocation at all from the annual budget funding amount.
All right.
Yes.
Let's make progress. So what next after these recommendations, of course, this report? But as you ponder over that, another interesting development has to do with the makeup of gas, which government couldn't take. I want you to tell us more about that.
Okay, so let me answer the first question and then I will come to this. So the second mandate of the committee requires it to engage citizens and update citizens on what is going on with regards to production, the revenues, utilization, and for citizens to give feedback on how the petroleum revenues are being utilized. More specifically, the Act requires the committee to hold at least two public engagements with citizens. And so with the publication of the report, the launch today, the committee is required by the Petroleum Revenue Management Act to go out and engage citizens. And the committee plans to conduct two regional engagements in the Ashanti region and the Central region after the publication of this report.
All right.
Now, coming to the makeup gas that we referred to, the 1,186 MMscf that Ghana could not take. This is makeup gas that we had paid for in 2018-19 that we were required to take during a period of 5 years. Usually when makeup gas, you have 5 years within which to take it, and Ghana could not take all the makeup gas. We took some, but then in the 5th year, which expired in 2024, we couldn't take all. We were left with 1,186 MMscf to take. And because we failed to take it, we forfeited it. And so that is how it arose. This represents a loss of revenue, and it's attributable to the gas processing plant that we currently have, which can only take a certain amount of raw gas and process with all the derivatives for various benefits. And there's need for urgent action on the second train, the second gas processing plant, so that Ghana's capacity to take more raw gas and process them for domestic and industrial uses will be enhanced, so that we will not have this situation recurring.
Coordinator of PIAC, Isaac Jamina Esquire, thank you so much for your input this very moment. I truly appreciate it. Let's stay a while longer within the energy space, because the Energy and Green Transition Minister, John Jinapor, says measures are being implemented to improve power delivery across the country. Now, in recent months, Ghana has experienced power shortfalls resulting in outages, partly due to the shutdown of the West African gas pipeline for retrofitting works. However, speaking at the West African Energy Ministers Conference in Accra, Energy Minister John Jinapor assured that the challenges are being addressed.
And I want to appeal to Ghanaians and the general consuming public to bear with us, even as we take some of these difficult but unavoidable decisions in order to ensure that we have stable, reliable, uninterruptible, and sustainable energy sources for our own economic development. I would like to assure you that under the direction of His Excellency the President, steps are being taken to improve power delivery and minimize the sector shortfalls. I do know that we have some few issues in respect of payments to all the stakeholders along the pipeline. Last month and this month, we've been working to increase payments. I want to assure you that as we go through the cycle, we'll continue to improve the sector and increase payments in order to ensure that we have reliable supply of gas.
You're still watching Business Live. We have more stories for you after this break. Thank you so much for staying on. I am Pius Kojobaka. We continue with the rest of our stories. And the Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Banks, John Iwa, has urged government to avoid interfering in the investment decisions of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust (NIT). Now, citing recent concerns of poor investment decisions and depleting pension funds, Mr. Iwa called for the appointment of technocrats and the autonomy to operate to ensure pensioners enjoy value for money. Here's more from the Money Summit for a forum organized to deliberate investment opportunities and pension management.
The global pension gap is estimated at $1 trillion. In Ghana, the National Pensions Authority cites low remuneration and the dominance of the informal sector as a cause. With recent shocks such as the domestic debt exchange derailing confidence in the investment of securities, the Money Summit, organized by the Business and Financial Times, aims to stimulate conversations on available investment opportunities and proper pension fund management. Speaking at the summit, John Ewa, Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Banks, called on government to avoid interfering with critical agencies such as SNIT to ensure the proper protection of pension funds.
I therefore call on our political parties to at all times ensure that the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, leadership team is always fit for purpose, and their term of office is not mixed up with SOEs whose leadership tenure is coterminous with the political leadership change. One of the critical areas that need urgent attention is the professional management of all pension funds, particularly SNIT, Ghana's largest pension fund. For years, it has been alleged that some investment decisions have either been politically influenced or have not been in the best interest of contributors to the scheme. And this has resulted in suboptimal fund management. Successive governments, while having vested interest in the health of the pension system, must not politicize its management.
On his part, Chris Bwedi-Mensah, CEO of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, outlined measures being implemented to protect pension funds.
In terms of regulation, because we have a system now where we can actually, NPR have a system where the industry can actually log down, we can see whatever they are doing. We are making sure we have even moved from compliance and we are now on risk-based, kind of regulation. So we are doing a lot to actually ensure that, pension fund is properly protected.
Banking consultant Dr. Richmond Echiahine called for fiscal capping to control the effect of inflation on savings.
Anytime you have more fiscal deficit, what you do is that you create inflationary pressures and difficulty for investment. But for what the Minister of Finance is doing, it is in the step in the right direction. But I would say, here, now, and then, it is not an independent fiscal council. It is not another fiscal responsibility act. We need, as a country, to have a debt cap in our constitution, where you hit for 50% of the GDP debt ratio, you don't move.
The Money Summit is a strategic platform created by the Business and Financial Times to discuss issues affecting the financial sector. The theme for this edition was Optimizing Investment and Pension Management, Strategies for Sustainable Retirement Income and Economic Growth. Isaac Osei for Joy Business.
One of our lead stories, trade between Ghana and Turkey is expected to surpass $1 billion in the short to medium term. That's according to the Turkish ambassador to Ghana, Hussein Gongo. Now, trade volumes stand at around $800 million. Mr. Gongo advocates for fostering partnerships and encouraging Ghanaian SMEs to explore the Turkish market as key strategies for growth. Here's more from the launch of the Turkish desk at Access Bank, aimed at boosting trade between the two nations.
Over the past 5 years, Ghana's exports to Turkey have increased by about 46%. In 2023, Ghana exported $614 million worth of goods to Turkey, while the southeastern European country exported almost $300 million worth of goods to the West African country. To maximize this potential, Access Bank has set up a Turkish desk to facilitate trade between businesses from the two countries. James Bruce, Executive Director of Wholesale Banking at Access Bank, sheds more light on this initiative.
It means a continued focus on trade for Ghana. It means that somebody's paying attention to the Ghana-Turkey trade corridor, which is about $600 million. Current levels to move it to $1.2 million. It means more foreign investment into Ghana and to Ghana free zones, board into manufacturing and employment. For Ghanaian businessmen, it means a one-stop shop if you want to import from Turkey, you want to deal with Turkish business partners. We have somebody who's from Turkey, has worked with Turkish banks and understands how to make sure you do not lose your money, you get the right trade terms. So essentially we are providing a gateway for trade between Ghana and Turkey for both ways. Turkish companies get comfortable, Ghanaian companies get comfortable through Access Bank Ghana, and with the support of the embassy as well to ensure that we grow the trade volumes here.
Meanwhile, the Turkish ambassador to Ghana, Hussein Gungor, encouraged Ghanaian businesses to leverage such opportunities to explore doing business in Turkey.
In terms of business as well, I invite all these good Ghanaian entrepreneurs to consider Turkey as an option, because in Ghana you have very good entrepreneurs as well. So in brief, we have excellent relations.
He also expects trade volumes between the two countries to exceed $1 billion.
Well, honestly, I already mentioned that around now it is between 500 to 700, but you can easily double it. And the aim is 1 billion, and it's not a big deal, seriously. It's not a big deal. I see the potential on our part as well as on Ghana's part. So all we have to do is work together. Now this is the day one for me to follow that 1 billion trade goal.
Access Bank, one of Ghana's leading banks in the SME space, aims to leverage this initiative to connect prospective Ghanaian businesses with their Turkish counterparts.
Chief Inspector of Mines at the Minerals Commission, Richard Kofi, has called on mining companies to integrate technologies in the promotion of safety at the operations. Now, according to him, digital tools and artificial intelligence can support curbing the growing concerns of injuries during mining operations. He made the call at a conference organized by the safety and health practitioners in the mining sector to commemorate the 2025 World Day for Health, Safety, Environment and Quality at Work.
As Ghana sharpens its focus on workplace safety and technological transformation, the inaugural national conference by the Safety, Health, Environment and Quality Practitioners Association of Ghana is a defining moment for stakeholders to commemorate the World Safety Day. The Chief Inspector of Mines, Richard Kofi, highlights the need for using artificial intelligence in curbing injury at the mines. He's confident that the cost of digital tools in their operations is worth more than losing lives.
Integration of such technologies may come at a significant cost to companies, but the immeasurable outcome is worth the price. We can make money from our operations, but we cannot make humans from our budgets. Therefore, in line with Regulation 32 of LI 2182 of 2012, that is the mining regulations, companies should take the necessary steps to invest in the needed infrastructure and equipment in technology to enhance safety. In closing, I urge all of you to embrace the revolution that AI and digitalization bring to our health and safety practices. Let us harness these powerful tools to create safer, more resilient workplaces where individuals can thrive.
Meanwhile, President of the association, Equiamo, has declared commitment of sector players to ensure that all safety rules by the Minerals Commission are implemented.
You mentioned with the statistics, global in Ghana, the mining industry is one of the well-regulated industries. So every safety incident that occurs on site is reported to the ministry, the Minerals Commission. They sometimes come in and help with investigation. So for us, success will mean that it wouldn't be just a talk shop, but then leaders, especially general managers of the mines, will take safety seriously. The safety practitioners cannot do it alone without the support of the general managers as well as the other HOD. So for us, we are looking forward to collaborating effectively with the leaders to understand our role and then their role as leaders in the industry so that we prevent fatalities and injuries on sites.
The conference was under the theme Revolutionizing Health and Safety, the Role of AI and Digitalization at Work.
And that's our package by way of Business Life. I am Pius Kojo Baka. We have more stories for you when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. See you at 8 p.m. with Prime Business.